Good morning from the West Coast, or at least it is morning time when I am recording this. So we have navigated our way through an election, and here we are. And folks have their various different points of analysis, their various responses, right, feelings, etc., and all of that is valid. And for those of you all who have been following me on TikTok, and thank you so much, by the way. You know that when I post, I try to post something of substance that I've researched out, right? That I feel the information needs to be known about. I try not to post, in terms of just like pushing content and pushing content and pushing content. I really want to post something that I'm proud of. There's a certain production value to my TikToks, a certain research value. Now, is it necessarily like top tier Hollywood level? No, but I do want to be proud of what I'm pushing out. And if you're going to spend 5 to 8 minutes watching a TikTok from me, I want to make sure that it's worth your time and that you feel that you are further informed by the time you finish that TikTok, right? And it's something that you can share with friends and family, right? To, talk about it and talk through, right? So that is where I'm going to be focused on, and now looking at what does this election mean? What is this impact, right? In how do we understand ourselves in relation to this election now? Many of you know that I am in higher ed, right? And that is pretty much where I have been, working with students up to election day, through election day, and after election day, because this has had an impact. It has impacted how folks relate to one another. It has disrupted points of commonality, right, in organizing. And for some folks, rightfully so, and other folks are like, hey, we still need to hold this together. And very rarely, whether you're at the higher ed level or K through 12, will you have a homogenous classroom. You're going to have students who have various social positioning in relation to the nation state, right? Whether it be race, ethnicity, gender, resident or citizenship status, right? Bodily ability. All of these different aspects are in the classroom, political thoughts and insights. And as an educator, you have to know how to navigate that and be able to talk to folks. All that to say is, I try to be responsible not only in my job as a collegiate educator, but also on this platform and how I am communicating the issues, right? I try to be careful about, just pushing out content, pushing out content, pushing out content. And listen, I know that is completely opposite the algorithm, right? But I really want to be able to be proud of what it is I am pushing out. That stated, two things. America has now gotten what it is asked for. And there are contradictions there, right? There are contrasting things there. And one of the questions that need to be looked into is, can these things coexist? And sometimes you do have to be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it, right? And in many areas of society, right? The studies, the numbers all suggest that those who were of a certain mind frame on the right side of the aisle might be disappointed about what they find out is about to take place as a result of some of these policies, right? Second thing, and this is like for my colleagues who do the research, who do the numbers, it is very obvious at this point in time that polling does not translate to election day results. This is the second time this has happened in an election. So, my sociologists, political scientists, right, who do this work, what the streets are letting us know is that you don't got it on lock like that. We do have areas of expertise, like with our degrees and the studying that has been done, but the polling, right, that comes out, that people that do this work, that clean the data, that, we go off of that work. What do we do in the space of polling is no longer a viable means to understand the attitudes and political positioning of the nation. That means that you can no longer be an armchair academic or armchair pollster. You're going to have to get out there and form genuine relationships with people other than knocking on folks' doors every 4 years saying, hey, who are you voting for? Because as many sociologists find out, when they do their work, and political scientists too, that humans have this thing called agency. And I can tell you one thing, but then go into a booth and vote a completely different way, right? And you end up with this, bamboozle type moment. And it's very clear that people bought into something, right, beyond the issues. Something that I'll be exploring more in my TikToks, right? So there's that particular aspect. Lastly, to my folks, right? And I can only speak to black folks really because I've been black all my life, right? We're going to be all right. I understand various people have various different approaches, and all of those are valid. But here is what I want to say. We are going to be okay. We have survived slavery. We have survived the various racial attacks that took place during the Reconstruction era, Jim Crow, the war on drugs. We have went through all of that. Listen, we stand on the shoulders of giants who have navigated this. And if our people did not break during these moments, this moment is certainly not going to break us. It is what it is. Is every black, and I don't mean to speak to black people in a homogenous state. I'm not suggesting that we're a homogenous group. We are not, right? Because there are various black folks who have various different approaches, right? We're not a monolithic. But I do want to say, those of us who are hip to what is going on, that we are going to be okay. We have seen not only this, but we have seen it worse. We have survived FDR. We have survived Ronald Reagan, right? We have survived all of these different folks, and that matters. We have survived all of these moments of racial collision in the United States. What makes you think we're not going to make it through this? Survival is in our DNA. Community organizing is in our DNA. And so if there's anything to be encouraged about, I want us to be encouraged about that. And toward that end, what my TikToks will look like going forward is I will post a video when there is something of substance to say, when I've been able to thoroughly research something out, as I do now, right? That will help us with navigating the moment and moving forward. That's my morning thought. Morning thoughts that I was supposed to start doing every morning. But I have been on the ground working with students, staying extra hours at the university. There's a lot of anxiety on these campuses, right? Around these issues. And so when you're in the trenches, you don't necessarily have time to record, right? This is where we're at. We got this. Even if it's only us that got us. Right? I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good day.